Uh-oh. Wait. Okay, here we go.
You found our show, so come on in and take a seat. Warrior class, we got the keys. Doom, 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 doom. To get you where you need to be, just study our show, and you're gonna grow like crazy. Watching you will see. Doom, 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 doom. Warrior class, we got the keys, just watch our show. 'Cause it's for you and your babies.
Welcome to Warrior Class,
where the teachers whip ass.
And you will too if you pass.
Hey. It's on death episode, and this is our return to Black Power Media. So,
yeah, bo.
I am Balogun Ojatade. I am Master Instructor and Technical Director of the African Martial Arts Institute and founder of the African Martial Arts Institute, co-founder and co-chair of the Urban Survival and Preparedness Institute, author of 40-something books, and screenwriter and film director. Oh, father of 9 children.
Father of the year.
Grandfather of 6. Husband. So that's me.
He is also the A mic, ladies and gentlemen. Make no mistake, even though I may talk a lot, he is the A mic. He is the premier talent. Without him, there would not be a warrior class. And I am
absolutely
the B mic. The AB mic. Ogunbile. I am up and coming, soon to be one day another master instructor. But for right now, they call me full instructor. I accept that title. I'm full instructor at African Martial Arts Institute. I'm also a father of 1. I'm working on it. You know, people in my family, they look at me kind of funny because I got a family. We got the kind of family where men have a lot of children, so I get picked at. But you know, I still got time. I'm also an actor myself, and all around great. I'm also a minister. I forgot to tell you that. Wellness consultant. So good to see you. For those of you who haven't seen in a minute, and for those of you I've never met, how you doing? Peace.
Greetings, family. I'm Aminiki. I'm an assistant instructor with the African Martial Arts Institute. I'm also a comedic yoga instructor. And I am the co-founder of my 16-year-old son.
Hmm.
uh,
I
a
like that.
creator.
Co-creator.
Yeah. hmm excuse me, amateur herbalist as well.
Oh, peace, Jadarian. We see you over there. We
Oh,
appreciate you. Your
great.
loyal support. The Spider-Man 7285, Jason Wakeman, and
Yeah.
and everybody who on the I just real quick, everybody who gave us support. We saw you on the chats. We also saw you on Facebook. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate it.
Most definitely. We love our family out there.
Yes, we do. Yes, we
We
do.
appreciate connecting with y'all every week.
Yes. All right. Any news or
Uh,
something to share?
well, I do have just a little bit of news. So, real quick, I just want to go to it. Provide a little update. I know a lot of people have been paying attention to the two twins who were, let's say, unalive because of how that the algorithms and stuff work. But their lives came to a tragic end. They were, if you don't know the story, which I'm sure mostly everybody does, but it was I don't. Let me see if I can find their names real quick. I don't want to. They found out so far. It was two. I don't have the names of the two gentlemen. Let's see if I can find them real quick. Okay, here we go. So the two 19-year-old twins that were found unalived at Bell Mountain, Georgia, which is very close to what is known as to be a sundown town. They missed their flights. So let me see if I can go down here. I don't have their names, but it's pretty easy to find this story. It happened very recently. But I know what the only update I have on that is that they found they arrested, I believe, the sheriff, or let me see who this guy is that they
Um,
arrested.
it's Kadir and Nazir Lewis.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, a North Georgia volunteer firefighter was arrested for sharing photos of their death scene on social media. So Scott Curlin, 42 years old, is accused of taking photos of the scene by sharing them on social media. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has charged him with misdemeanor obstruction. So I just wanted to put that out there. And also, I just wanted to give, just in case you wanted to follow up on this yourself, there's the police chief, Jeremy Parker of Hiawassee, I think it's, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Ayahuasca.
Hiawassee, almost like Hiawassee, Georgia. There's a police chief named Jeremy Parker. You can reach him at 706-896-2203. Again, that's 706-896-2203. There's also the town's country sheriff's office and Sheriff Kenneth Henderson. And their phone number is 706-896-4444. I'll try to put that down in the chat, and along with their emails. And, if you have any questions and concerns, we want to raise those questions and concerns to the proper people. I don't know about any gathering or anything happening. If you do, put it in the chat and let us know about it. So I just wanted to mention that. And real quickly, if you don't know, I have a small segment that I share every now and then when I feel that I've been victimized on social media. And so I use this platform. I use this platform sometimes because the algorithms kind of boot a brother out. So real quick, and I'm gonna make it very, very fast. I was on a ATL Black Star, which is Atlanta Black Star is it used to be a publication that actually was a publication, a physical publication. Since then, I think they resorted to the internet. But they posted an article that says D.L. Hughley basically says that, he was talking about any supporters of Donald Trump are not rational or insane black human beings. I'm not a supporter of Donald Trump at all, but I thought it was interesting that D.L. Hughley was speaking about that, and I chose the opportunity to post on that about my experience with D.L. Hughley, and because I'm nonpartisan, I don't care about Democrats or Republicans. I'm a revolutionary, so my politics are outside of that. So I'm also an actor, like I told you before, and I was hired along with 100 other black men to be a part of a townhouse, the BET townhouse you can find on YouTube, where black men support Kamala Harris. Well, everybody in that audience was paid for. I know because I was a part of it, and I have the video. I posted it on social media, and they didn't tell us what it was about. They just you thought everybody thought it was a regular acting gig to be in the audience. They didn't know it was. They just knew it was a production. And when we got there, as soon as the lights came on, they said, "Hey, these are black men that back Kamala Harris and blah blah." I'm like, "Whoa! Nobody asked me none of this." So I left, and I posted that's what happened, and that was my experience. And because other people were saying that how a lot of stage things are happening, so I posted that, and everybody gonna say stuff. People got stuff to say. I don't respond to everything. I've learned. Baba has taught me, to ignore most of the stuff. But I had something that I've never been told before. I had a black woman call me a coon. She was like, "Nobody want to hear that coon shit you talking about. Get out of here." I was like, "God damn." I have never been. I was taken aback because I have been called a lot of things, but I've never been accused of being a coon, and it hurt me. I'm not gonna lie. I can't lie to y'all. I was hurt that you called me a coon. So the first thing I do when somebody, hurts my feelings on social media, which doesn't happen often, I go to their page. I got to see who is this person. So of course this has to be a pro-black, strong revolutionary woman to, to call me a coon. So I look at Candace Roma page. I don't know her. XIO Lab Blue, Ziola Blue 01. So I go to her page. It's private, so you ain't gonna be able to see it. It's private now. It wasn't private before. So I go to her page and I said, okay, she got on the Black Power shirts and everything. I scrolled down. She married, got a husband, but I ain't see the pictures. I see the 3 dogs. And then I see the picture of this pro-black woman's husband. And hey, to each his own. If you marry Ted and that's what you do, then that's fine. I don't put that up there right there. Hey, whatever floats your boat. I'm just saying, if you gonna call me a coon, I would expect you to have a black man at home. I just do. So I just want to say I'll leave it alone. But I just want to say, because I told her I would be speaking about this on my podcast to give her a chance if she wanted to say something. And she said happy 50th anniversary to her baby cakes. So I want to wish them a happy anniversary and just say, Candace Rome, hey, watch who you calling the coon, because that person may just, have a platform where they can speak on you, So I couldn't at her or anything. She got one of those pages she could talk about people and you can't add her, you can't mention her back. So I feel like that's kind of unfair. So I just had to throw that out there. That's my little segment for the show. Please, let's be courteous and have social media etiquette. And let's not name call each other. We don't have to do that. Let's treat each other as we would in person.
I've been called a coon by a woman. First of all, she lied on me. She said first she said something about the ninjas were Africans. Most ridiculous. I said, no, sister.
This is why white people get mad sometimes. We claim everything.
I said, right. I said the ninjas were not African. I said, and that is against African culture. They were paid assassins.
Right. Bad character.
She said, I think you need to check your facts.
Ooh.
I said, well, I just been doing martial arts a little while, but I think I know, what I'm talking about. And she got this from Tariq Nasheed's Hidden Color shit.
Okay.
And she said, I said, I think I know a little bit what I'm talking about. And so people were in the chat. They was like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. He's been doing martial arts for a long time, longer than any of us have been alive. And she said, you need to rethink that, coon.
Oh.
You need to. I said, I'm a coon because I said the ninjas weren't African. I was okay. I'm a coon then. So then she goes to her page. Of course, I follow her to her page. Look, see what she's talking about. And she's an artist. She used to be in the group State of Black Science Fiction, but I kicked her out.
As you should.
Yeah. And so and she's tried for years to sneak back in, and I kick her out again. But she said a man called me fat one more time. I don't know what I might do to him. And so they said, who's calling you fat? She said, Balagoon OJ Tade. I said, no, I did not call her fat.
Damn.
I would not do that. She's lying. And so it wasn't just me. Then one of her friends got in there and said, you're lying, sister.
Whoop.
Because I was in that chat when you called him a coon. You're lying. So she was, maybe I made a mistake. No, you didn't make a mistake. You're lying.
Yeah.
How you make a mistake? Wow. I called you fat.
See, you making me feel bad, Baba, because I called Carla Roma Bigums when I responded back. I shouldn't have did that. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry, Carla.
So I just wanted to chime in. I think they said in Hidden Colors, I think they said the first samurai was African.
And the first samurai wasn't even African.
Right.
That's what they said.
And so that's Yasuke. Yasuke wasn't a combat samurai. He was, I believe, a servant of the Japanese. He was a slave, but then he was bought by the Japanese dude, freed, but still a servant. He wasn't I think he was a sword bearer. He wasn't no warrior like that. That's the truth of Yasuke. Now, that's all I'll say on that. I will say one thing about a warrior who just made his transition. I would like to say rest in power to the boxer George Foreman.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, Bo.
Mm-hmm. We lost him on the 21st. So
yeah, that was
just yesterday.
Yeah, so I want to.
It's funny because he's such a strong figure that it really shocked me. I'm not thinking he's almost. He was 80 something. I'm not sure.
No, he's 76.
76. I'm so used to that strong disposition and that he had. As soon as I saw, I was like, oh, man, not George Foreman. Okay, he's 76 years old. I mean, maybe it's a little bit more understandable. But I'm just so used to that strong.
They didn't say why he died, but he was in the hospital. He died in the hospital, so I don't know. But George, was always physically strong. He was. He boxed, was a champion boxer. Left boxing for 10 years. Returned at 38. Then I think he won the heavyweight championship again at 40. He continued to box until he was 50-something years old. So, I give him a lot of credit as being a physical beast. And he was he rebranded himself. He was a feared, fierce boxer. Then he rebranded himself as a nice guy. And of course, I know that the boxer was still there.
Right.
He branded himself as the Lamb.
Mhm.
I know the line was still there. So,
But he did make a transition from his what like Muhammad Ali said. If you're still thinking the same way in your 50s as you was in your 30s, then you ain't do any growing. But he
right.
did make a transition from the angry,
Yeah.
full of hate, because he talked about how he wanted to kill people in the ring. That was his thing. So, but you're right. He kept that. He branded himself as a nice guy, but he kept that. You're a fighter, you're a warrior. You got that in you, and you saw it never really left him.
See, some people just know him as Foreman Grill.
That's
Right.
what I was going to say. That might be why or that might be responsible for the rebranding. Is that he had
Well, that's part of it. He had to
Yeah.
rebrand himself, But what he did with that, he sold his name and his image
Mhm.
to several businesses. But of course, he didn't make the grill,
Right.
but he sold his name, to that grill, and that's how the Foreman Grill came about.
Like that's like Patty Bell pie, same thing.
Right. Patty. So I used to do executive protection for Patty LaBelle. Patty LaBelle did not make no damn pie. Yeah, she sold her name to that.
Piece of manual
You
braids.
saying she doesn't cook? I thought she cooked. I mean, she's supposed to be known to be a great cook.
She may have been, but all the time I worked for her, she wasn't cooking. She was getting cooked for by herself.
This is what she made the big bucks for. I don't know.
Right. So, she may be able to throw down. I don't know.
Who knows?
All right. So we're about to get into it.
Yeah, but
Now, wow.
Who else?
US Foreman just popped up in my feed.
Lovely
that?
37.
US Foreman just popped up in my feed.
Well, I just saw a post about how the phones can read your mind now. So when you say something and think about it, just
They can hear you talking.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
yeah, that part too. That part too.
Elusive views and welcome lovely lady 371.
And I'm disappointed. Patty had me fooled. I thought that was her personal recipe. I feel offended. I hope you don't feel offended by that pie. I bought a patty pie. That's It's terrible.
Hold up.
Wow, people were raving about how good they were.
That patty pie was terrible.
It's two types of people: people who buy pies in the stores, and people who get pies sent to them and made for them and make pies.
Yeah, I don't make no pies. I get them sent to me.
Right, exactly. If you're used to eating homemade stuff, homemade food, that's not going to taste like too much to you.
No.
But if you buy store-bought danishes and pastries, and some people do that, and that's going to be a good pie for them. I'm not being funny. I come from bakers and cooks. That shit don't even look like a real sweet potato pie to me, and don't smell like one. The constitution of it
smell like one. Smell like clay.
Yeah. I don't.
A lovely lady 37177 said I tried patty pies. It was terrible. Yes, it was terrible. I said, well, let me buy this pie. Let me see what this pie tastes like. It was awful. My mom made me pies, but I was messing with the patty pie in between getting stuff for mom.
Matter of fact, my brother just sent me a whole pound cake in the mail, and he know I'm vegan. He just be trying to take me off my square, man. I'm end up cutting it up and giving it to Baba family.
You can do that. It used to be this woman. She's a hoodoo woman, and she had a bakery. Man,
it was here in Atlanta.
She was on Auburn Avenue.
Oh wow!
Oh my God! Me and my wife would go to her, buy these pound cakes, and she made peach cobbler, and her stuff was delicious. It probably had goddamn lard in it. I don't know, but it was good.
I used to love sweets so much I wouldn't ask what was in it.
And
I don't want to know.
I didn't just, but
That tasted cake. Woo.
she looked at me one day and she said, don't take offense to this, but you got a sickness in you and you better check on it before you have a stroke.
Oh wow. She called it.
The next year I had a stroke. 2000, she said that in 2011. I had my first stroke in 2012.
A friend of mine just had a stroke.
And I didn't look sick as far as I knew.
A friend of mine just had a stroke at 45 years old. Real quick to speak to that, I just want to say, because I just had me and Akinbola, I was just talking. And one thing we both realized that we didn't realize till somebody else brought it up, you get signs about your health. A lot of times, us as men especially, we are, because I can't speak about a woman, being a woman, but as men, and the men I know, we are geared to move, to keep moving. Physical ailments and stuff, we are geared, a lot of us, to compartmentalize pain and block it out and forget about it. So I bet y'all remember this. I didn't think about this until me and Uncle Bob was talking. In 2021, one time Uncle Bob, whole body stiffed up, he couldn't move for a second.
I don't remember that.
He didn't talk about it. It just happened one time, and he went to the chiropractor, got his, just forgot about it. He and ended up thinking he forgot, and a couple of years later, he thought he went to the chiropractor about his knee. He forgot that his whole body locked up at one time.
Well, see,
that's some serious shit. But
a lot of it is ignorance. In class one time, I threw almost soon, and then like his foot hit my shin, and I fell, like collapsed. And I thought it was from that. I'm like, man, damn, you must have hit a pressure point or something. And it was actually a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. So a TIA is what they call a small stroke.
Right.
Oh,
But I didn't know. And TIAs always are precursors to the big stroke, to the actual stroke. I didn't know. I didn't know I had a TIA. I thought it was just, I knew after that, I was like, damn, I got a headache, man. I had a headache from that and stuff, but I thought it was just some freak accident in class.
And see, again, most people say, I keep getting headache. Maybe I should get this checked out. We built different. I sat down. I don't know if y'all remember this. Back when I was an assistant instructor, I couldn't sit. And I know I told you this before, about because I thought you had similar thing. I couldn't sit with on a stool or anything that didn't have a back support. If I did, my arm or my shoulders and stuff would start to get numb. My fingertips would start to get numb, and I start to get an aching feeling. And so I just always sat with something to my back. Never said, let me go see why my whole right side gets numb when I don't have support and sit down. I ain't got time for that.
Emmanuel Briggs said,
back support, keep going.
Friend of mine thought he had chest pain from pneumonia, took his stubborn behind to the doctor later to find out that he had a small heart attack. Now, when I had a major heart attack, but when I had a heart attack, I couldn't goddamn just shake that one off. I was like, shit, my chest was hurting bad. But I did go all the way to New York, was walking down in Harlem. The whole family, we in Harlem walking, enjoying ourselves and shit. And we went to it's a famous restaurant there. We went there and I told my wife, I leaned to, I said, yeah, Sylvia's, yeah. I leaned to my wife and I said, this is my last time eating beef because it's hurting my chest. So I knew it was something. Wow. Then we came back, we drove back to Atlanta, and I was feeling okay, but I'm moving everybody's suitcases out and moving them around and stuff. and it started again. Well, when I went in the house, I was like, man, my chest hurt. I'm just gonna lay down for a minute, watch some Walking Dead, The Walking Dead. So I just laid down there, watched The Walking Dead. My heart calmed down.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I was The Walking Dead, right? I thought I was, all right. I wasn't all right. The next day, I was in the hospital.
Yes, we got so do better, ladies and gentlemen. When something happens to you, get checked out if possible. Peace, Brittany. We see you. Okay, all right.
Baby Bowman join the chat. I was gonna say I'm sorry, excuse me. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say as a woman, I feel like maybe a lot of women think that they know what changes there are in their bodies. I know I definitely over the years have felt like I'm very in tune with what's happening with me. But I think based on conversations that I have with other women, that the medical system that we find ourselves a part of here and make ourselves a part of kind of has us so divorced from what we naturally are that you're thinking that one thing is going on with you and it is really a completely opposite thing or a completely different thing because you're listening to someone who hasn't really studied your biology and someone who doesn't have a whole picture of what a healthy person really is. They just have little specific body parts that they work with and maybe don't even know that all that well. So yeah, you're right. We do have to do better as men and women out here and really get in touch with what's going on with us. Journal if you have to, whatever you do, so that you can tell, okay, every time I eat, like Bob was saying, every time when I eat beef, this happens. So maybe I should stop. Because that's the other thing is you don't want to stop doing things when you
We don't that we like doing.
It's not
that,
good.
and we like to ignore stuff. We just like to ignore things that happen to us. You know what I'm saying? I know as a man that I've called Baba. Why am I calling Baba? First of all, I can't move. My back went out. I can't move. I'm on the floor. I call Baba, man, I can't move. What are they gonna pray for me? You gonna be all right. Like, I need to go get checked. I need to go somewhere. Like, yeah, do better. That's all.
My mother and my cousin, who was like my mother's sister, really, because of her age, but they told me one time, they said now, because I had a injured, what problem is I get injured so much, and they were like, now, you can't, my mother said, well, my auntie, my cousin, Doris, she said, I want to, tell you something. Your mama wanted to tell you, but she's embarrassed. But I'm going to tell you. When you had that injury, it'll never heal up if you keep having sex.
Oh.
And
what you hurt?
It's a bone injury. I forgot. Had I broken my hand? I forget what it was. But she was like, you can't have sex until that heals up, or it'll never heal.
You still got the injury to the day?
No, I stopped doing that until it healed up.
Yes.
Any bone injury, I don't mess around with that. After they told me that, that's an old wives. I don't say tale, really. It's
right. It's one of those things that's a fact that you just don't think it is. Just like nightshades, when you're trying to heal, like really trying to heal from your bone injuries and things. I don't tell a lot of people, but y'all my family out here. I smoke weed, but I'm not smoking weed right now. I quit smoking weed once I told, if y'all been following, once I told you I had a little accident where I fractured my neck and separated my shoulder and all that. Well, to heal at a cellular level, smoking is really inhibits that. You know what I'm saying? So
You're retoxing each time you.
Yeah. So you have to have discipline too sometime to heal. Just like what Bob is saying. Sometimes you have to have discipline. Sometimes you have to refrain from things you like to do that you may feel helps you or whatever. Sometimes you got to leave that alone. You may have to stop drinking. You may have to stop eating cake. You know what I'm saying? You may have to do those things, but we have to invest in ourselves a lot more. That's one thing as Black folks we shun from. We invest in our houses, our cars, and our children and everything. But our state of being, we don't invest in. We don't invest in our mental and spiritual and physical health enough. And so,
and definitely not mental. I mean, man,
definitely not mental. Block it out, suck it up, keep it moving. You know. So let's think about that. Let's think about that as we move in our new year. Happy New Year's, everybody.
Oh, Happy New Year.
right.
That was one thing we didn't say.
There you go.
Good job, Belay.
Thank you. I got it from you. You posted it, and I remember.
Mhm.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it, folks.
All
We
right,
ready. Warrior class after
from
dark.
you, I mean, Nikki.
I know. Excuse me, Baba. I do have it. I'm just pulling it up.
All right.
This
We are
is
speaking on death.
This is on death. Now, we've done an episode on death, but it was a little different. So the first episode we did on death, we did it one. It was early on in our warrior class beginnings,
Yes.
but we did it on how do we deal with someone dying that we care about,
Grieving.
or that we know of. How do we deal with death?
Sure.
I remember there was a very it was kind of a sensitive show. I don't think I was a part of that show.
You were part of that show. In fact, you cried because that's when your grandfather, I think, had passed.
See how we block out mental? See how you block that out?
Right now, other people have dealt with how to deal with death. A few people, not a lot, but very few deal with how to deal with death and how to deal with that.
Yeah, well,
that's part of what we're going to talk about today.
Very few have the experience to speak on it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right.
Death forces us to contend with two things. One, how to cope with losing the people closest to our hearts. And two, how to contend with our own inevitable demise. Even when these things are not front and center in our thoughts, they lurk in the background, haunting us, cultivating worry and unease. What can we do to combat these two field marshals of Aiku, or death? We can commemorate. Commemoration is remembrance, typically expressed in a ceremony intended to honor an important event or person. Black August, for example, is a month-long commemoration, not a celebration, that focuses on the oppressive treatment of our brothers and sisters in the gulags and concentration camps that America calls prisons. Commemoration can be intensely positive, imbued with good memories, learning, camaraderie, nation building, familiarity, and belongingness. On the other hand, it can be intensely negative, accompanied by longing, and loss and frustrated desires. In fact, when people are asked to characterize commemoration, they give both positive, loving, sharing, getting in shape, warmth, and negative, sad, yearning, heart-wrenching, missing things, with the positive things usually winning out. Commemoration makes us feel better despite having negative elements because it anchors us in a life filled with socially meaningful events and relationships. Commemoration is proven to increase positive mood, self-esteem, perceptions of social connectedness, and buffer people against death-related anxiety. Commemoration blunts the keen sorrow that our loved ones are no longer in our lives. They also relieve the terror intrinsic to being mortal. Someday you too will pass on, but you will live on in the memories of your loved ones, who will recall your times together with both the warmth and the ache of commemoration.
In the West African spiritual tradition of Ifa, there's the concept of two-ness, Ejiwapo, meaning our twos are many. The idea that everything in nature has two aspects, spirit, matter, visible, invisible, male, female, man, woman, good, evil, essence, existence, life, death. Combat kills, maims, and terrifies, but it can also reveal the power of brotherhood and the selfless sense of purpose. It's an experience that changes warriors, and those changes last a lifetime. But I'm a civilian, you say. What can I get out of this? You may not be at war, but my dear brothers and sisters, we, and I mean Africans worldwide, have been in war since colonization and our enslavement.
Yeah, boy.
Is taking a people hostage, taking their land, wealth, freedom, and their culture not acts of war? So it would behoove you to get on the right side of the barricade and train to become what you are, a warrior, or remain a prisoner of war. Your choice, of course.
War is a lot of things, and it is unrealistic to pretend that exciting isn't one of them. War offers warriors a life that is vibrant, terrifying, and full. It's the worst thing in the world, inflicting both physical and emotional injury, but it is exhilarating. And this exhilaration is related to the brain's physiological responses to trauma and stress centered in the amygdala, excuse me. The fight, flight, and freeze part of the brain, triggering adrenaline flow, raising pulse and blood pressure levels dramatically, and flooding the heart, brain, and major muscle groups. If you think that exhilaration is unimportant, just look at folks today doing stuff like the crate challenge. It's most likely than not that they will get injured. They're almost guaranteed to fall, but they keep doing the dumb shit. Because that feeling of exhilaration trumps our common sense. It trumps fear and worry, which is, of course, manufactured fear. At least the engagement in war can allow us to combat oppression, to protect that which we love, to get free.
Yeah, well, the capacity for self-sacrifice among human beings is nowhere more evident than in the bonds between warriors during war. Every revolutionary and radical Black leftist that I know sacrifices their time, their resources, and is willing to sacrifice their life to see us get free. The willingness to die for another person is a form of love and is a profound and essential part of the experience. Some people feel that their lives matter most when they are in combat. The sense of meaning and purpose grows out of protecting and being protected by their comrades, a shared commitment to safeguard one another's lives that is non-negotiable and only deepens with time.
When we kill someone, how does it affect us? And yes, warriors kill if we must. And we do it on behalf of those we love.
Yeah, well.
It is very important that we understand why and under what conditions killing another human being is the right thing to do. But what about those of us who refuse to kill our assailants even when our life is in danger? These people's psyches are repulsed by the act of killing. For a psychologically normal Black person, there's a deep reluctance to killing other people and is bearable only if we are able to distance ourselves from our actions. If we reason that our cause is just, then killing sits more easily in our mind. Violent conflict is deeply related to protection of home and loved ones, not to killing for its own sake. The happiness of the survivor at being alive is inseparable from the death of the other person. After killing in defense of self or others, you might ask, I just killed and I'm happy about it. Does that mean I like killing? No. As Belay stated earlier, there's exhilaration in the fact that you survived a violent encounter with someone trying to take your life is indeed going to make you happy. And you are going to feel guilt, which is why you will ask yourself the above question. If you felt nothing about taking the life of another human being, that would indicate you are a sociopath. Just know that you are not evil, a terrible person, or unforgivable because of violent acts done to survive a war. And like I said earlier, you are in war every day, even if you are not at war. Now, Brittany Bowman says, she don't even want to kill a rat. I hear you. I don't want to kill a rat either, but I'll kill a rat. No matter what the rat look like. Peace will not come until we have mastered war. And to master war, we must study it diligently. Our first step in the study of killing is to understand the existence, extent, and nature of the average human being's resistance to killing their fellow human. For those who have never experienced it, the depiction of battle that Hollywood has given us and the cultural mythology that Hollywood is based upon appear to be about as useful in understanding killing as pornographic movies would be in trying to understand the intimacy of a sexual relationship. A virgin observer might get the mechanics of sex right by watching an X-rated movie, but he or she could never hope to understand the intimacy and intensity of the procreative experience. As a society, we are as fascinated by killing as we are by sex, possibly more so, since we are somewhat jaded by sex and have a fairly broad base of individual experience in that area. Many children, upon seeing that I am a decorated soldier, immediately ask, have you ever killed anyone? Or how many people have you killed? And some adults ask me that too. Crazy. Where does this curiosity come from? Robert Heinlein once wrote that fulfillment in life involved loving a good woman and killing a bad man. There's a strong interest in killing in our society, but an even stronger aversion to doing it ourselves. During World War II, U.S. Army Brigadier General S.L.A. Marshall asked these average soldiers what it was that they did in battle. His singularly unexpected discovery was that of every 100 men along the line of fire during the period of an encounter, an average of only 15 to 20% would take any part with their weapons. 15 to 20%. This was consistently true whether the action was spread over a day or 2 days or 3. Marshall was a U.S. Army historian in the Pacific Theater during World War II and later became the official U.S. historian of the European Theater of Operations. He had a team of historians working for him, and they based their findings on an individual and mass interviews with thousands of soldiers in more than 400 infantry companies in Europe and in the Pacific. Immediately after they had been in close combat with German or Japanese troops, the results were consistently the same. Only 15 to 20% of the American riflemen in combat during World War II would fire at the enemy. Those who would not fire did not run or hide. In many cases, they were willing to risk great danger to rescue comrades, get ammunition, or run messages. But they simply would not fire their weapons at the enemy, even when faced with repeated waves of banzai charges.
Wow. Real quick, y'all, if you see me doing like this right here at my neck, it's not because I'm geeking or a crackhead. It's because my collarbone is still dislocated, and sometimes to relieve pressure, I have to do that. I just want y'all to know that. Don't be talking about me and telling people I got a problem. All right. So the question is why? Why did these men fail to fire? As we examine this question and study the process of killing in combat, we realize that there is one major factor that is missing from the common understanding of killing in combat. A factor that answers this question and more. That missing factor is the simple and proven fact that there is within most men an intense resistance to killing their fellow man. A resistance so strong that in many circumstances, soldiers on the battlefield will die before they can overcome it. To some, this makes obvious sense. Of course, it's hard to kill someone. They would say, I could never bring myself to do it. But they would be wrong. With the proper conditioning, the proper circumstances, it appears that almost anyone can and will kill. Others might respond, any man will kill in combat when he is faced with someone who is trying to kill them, and they would be even more wrong. For we shall observe that throughout history, the majority of men on the battlefield will not attempt to kill the enemy, even to save their own lives or the lives of their friends.
That's why they try to digitize it now. You know, even when my uncle was a combat pilot, you know, so he was in the plane killing. Mm-hmm. But now they try to do it from the
right. Oh, take the pain away from it.
With video games,
right?
Like spending money on the internet. It's a lot less painless when you can just press a button. Right. You don't get to feel that life taken.
Right. Absolutely.
I guess that's the same thing why, you know, when they get rid of guns and you have to use knives and machetes, why killing go down too, because it's a lot more personal than shooting with a gun. Excuse me.
Absolutely. One of the roots of our misunderstanding of the psychology of the battlefield lies in the misapplication of the fight or flight model to the stresses of the battlefield. This model holds that in the face of danger, a series of psychological and physiological processes prepare and support the endangered creature for either fighting or fleeing. The fight or flight dichotomy is the appropriate set of choices for any creature faced with danger other than that which comes from its own species. When we examine the responses of creatures confronted with aggression from their own species, the set of options expands to include posturing and submission. This application of animal kingdom intraspecies response patterns, that is, fight, flee, posture, and submit, to human warfare is, to the best of my knowledge, entirely new. The first decision point in an interspecies conflict usually involves deciding between fleeing or posturing. A threatened baboon or rooster who elects to stand its ground doesn't respond to aggression from one of its own kind by leaping instantly to the enemy's throat. Instead, both creatures instinctively go through a series of posturing actions that, while intimidating, are almost always harmless. These actions are designed to convince an opponent through both sight and sound that the posturer is a dangerous and frightening adversary. When the posturer has failed to dissuade an interspecies opponent, the options then become fight, flight, or submission. When the fight option is utilized, it is almost never to the death. Piranhas and rattlesnakes will bite anything and everything, but among themselves, piranhas fight with wraps of their tails, and rattlesnakes wrestle. Somewhere during the course of such highly constrained and non-lethal fights, one of the interspecies opponents will usually become daunted by the ferocity and prowess of its opponent, and its only options become submission or flight.
And if you check out our episode that's called the Yoruba Showdown, that's the Yoruba Showdown is that posturing thing.
Oh, right.
You know.
Yeah, bro.
All right. Submission is a surprisingly common response, usually taking the form of fawning and exposing some vulnerable portion of the anatomy to the victor, in the instinctive knowledge that the opponent will not kill or further harm one of his own kind once it has surrendered. The posturing, mock battle, and submission process is vital to the survival of the species. It prevents needless deaths and ensures that a young male will live through early confrontations when his opponents are bigger and better prepared. Having been out-postured by his opponent, he can then submit and live to mate, passing on his genes in later years. You'll see people, puffing up and talking big and all of that. All of that is the precursor to anything else in a fight.
Right.
There's a clear distinction between actual violence and posturing. Oxford social psychologist Peter Marsh notes that this is true in New York street gangs. It is true in so-called primitive tribesmen and warriors. And it is true in almost any culture in the world. All have the same patterns of aggression, and all have very orchestrated, highly ritualized patterns of posturing, mock battle, and submission. These rituals restrain and focus the violence on relatively harmless posturing and display. What is created is a perfect illusion of violence. Aggression, yes. Competitiveness, yes. But only a very tiny, tiny level of actual violence. In war, as in gang war, posturing is the name of the game. I've seen a gang fight. It's about 100 people, and they were all boxing it out, until one hit another one with a VCR, DVD player, and then it got more serious, and it kind of dispersed after that. They were like, damn, because we weren't trying to actually kill nobody out here. So even though they talk like they were.
So we used to have, because I'm from the country where it wasn't no gangs, it was neighborhoods. Your neighborhood fought the other neighborhood. So this other neighborhood came to our neighborhood to fight. Like, we all knew we was about to fight. And it's gangs because we called ourselves the WHT. We had our own colors and all that. So we thought we was a gang. And we were teenagers, 16, 17. So about 20 to 30 other people from a neighborhood came and we fought. And like Baba said, everybody's fighting. One person had a hammer. And they hit my homeboy across the neck. And it put a big gash, almost looked like a $1.50. He didn't know. He kept fighting, and we seen the blood. It was like, yo, you bleeding. Wow. Everybody stopped fighting. Everybody stopped fighting. Everybody just looked, because something serious now has happened. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. It's time to stop. Everybody start dispersing. Person I'm fighting, I just ignore him. I go straight to my homeboy. He didn't bust me upside the back of the head. None of that happened. That's an illusion of real. That's not real violence.
Right.
Because there were rules that we didn't say. Right. It was understood. That's not war. It's totally different. And you'll be confused and deluded into thinking that is until you really get into some real shit.
Right.
I just wanted to mention that. Adding the posture and submission of, options to the standard fight or flight model of aggression response helps to explain many of the actions on the battlefield, which can be an actual battlefield or the streets or even your home. When a person is frightened, they literally stop thinking with their forebrain and begin to think with their midbrain, the portion of the brain that is essential, indistinguishable from that of an animal. And in the mind of an animal, we make the loudest noises or puff ourselves up to appear larger. Peacocking, I think we used to call it back in the days. Posturing can be seen in the plumb helmets of the ancient Greeks and Romans, which allowed the bearer to appear taller and therefore fiercer to his foe, while the brilliantly shined armor made him seem broader or brighter. In that same manner, the roars of two posturing beasts are exhibited by men in battle. For centuries, the war cries of soldiers have made their opponents' blood run cold. Whether it be the battle cry of a Greek phalanx, the hoorah of the U.S. Army, the wail of Scottish bagpipes, or the rebel yell of the Civil War. Soldiers have always distinctly sought to daunt the enemies through nonviolent means prior to physical conflict, which, while encouraging one another to impressing themselves with their own ferocity and simultaneously providing a great effective means of drowning the disagreeable yell of the enemy.
There is, of course, such a thing as a natural soldier. The kind who derives his great satisfaction from excitement and from the conquering of physical obstacles. He doesn't want to kill people as such, but he will have no problems if it occurs within a moral framework that gives him justification, like war. And if it is the price of gaining admission to the kind of environment he craves. Whether such people are born or made, I don't know. But most of them end up in armies. But armies are not full of such men. They are so rare that they form only a modest fraction, even of small professional armies, mostly congregating in commando units, like the Special Forces, SEALs, or Marine Raiders.
What exactly does it take to kill someone? When I was in my late teens to mid 20s in the military, it was like, all right, let's go get some pancakes afterwards. How did I end up this way? Was I born with this mindset? Was the mindset healthy, unhealthy? For warriors, revolutionaries, and victims of violent crimes, we may face situations in which hesitating to kill is the surest way to get killed. That's why military training camps, preppers, and even some self-defense pros are constantly searching for some more effective methods of suppressing the human revulsion to taking human life, rewiring the brain to react first in certain situations with an automatic response to kill. Target practice on hollowed out cabbages filled with ketchup to mimic the way a bullet rips open a human head. Marching to chants of shoot, shoot, shoot to kill, drive on. Video game simulations that reward points for every successful shot. These are among hundreds of techniques utilized to recognize the human brain, recondition the human brain, To outsiders, this is distasteful, even repellent. To practitioners, it is simply a fact of life and death. The only thing that has any hope of silencing the midbrain, of quelling the fear of killing, rather than the fear of being killed that we all have, which is the most common cause of battle failure in any individual, is conditioning.
You know, it's funny.
The only thing that has any hopes of silencing the midbrain, that's your animal brain, of quelling the fear of killing rather than the fear of being killed that we all have, which is the most common cause of battle failure in any individual, is conditioning.
Conditioning.
Yeah,
it's funny. Me and one of my homeboys, OD, he was we were talking about killing someone. What would it take? I don't know how we got on this because he didn't know this was going to be the topic today. But we were talking about just keeping a level head, being calm, and not reacting to things, right? And then all of a sudden, OD was like, I know how would make you kill somebody. And so I became interested. he didn't say it like that. He was like, I could give you a scenario where you'll kill somebody. That's what it was. So I'm like, I said, well, I'm thinking he's gonna, somebody slap your mama and blah 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 blah. It's funny what he said because I had to think about it. He said, you and Bob walking down the street and somebody spit on him. I swear to God, that's what he said. Out of all the stuff, I was expecting him to come out of his mouth about my daughter and everything. And later he said it. Right after that, he said, yeah, I could have said your daughter about. He said, that's easy though. He's like, what if you walking down the street, a white man just spit on Bob? What was your first thing to do? I said, damn.
Well, first thing you be doing is picking up that white man's dead body because I killed him first. He spit on me.
I'll have to beat you to
it. Yeah. We be competing to kill.
But when he said that, it threw me because I was like, damn. Yeah, I probably I'd have killed that motherfucker. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting in the fact of his looking at me, and I guess how I look at you. And it's easy to say if you'd have spit on a woman, you was with somebody like that. But I thought that was very interesting. You know what I'm saying? And I would hope I wouldn't have to take anybody's life for spitting on my but that was an interesting thing. What would it take? And everybody ain't the same. I just thought that was really interesting. I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Yeah,
bro.
Shout out to iManifesto who has finally graced us. And Emmanuel Briggs says kind of like I think you're saying Maori chants. Yeah. And you're right. Yeah, it's sad that now all of that is ceremonial, basically. But yeah, the whole
talking about the Maoris,
what to call it? Yeah,
the
New
haka.
Zealand.
It's called the haka.
The haka, right?
It's the look. It's all of that.
Yeah,
right? Included in that.
That's the whole posturing.
Oh, that whole.
Right. All
that,
of that.
That is how their demons and shit look.
And the paint or whatever that they put on the
they're impersonating the demons. Yeah,
it's still a dance. It's a dance that Baba showed us like twice that I want to get so bad, and it's the dance that just got so much aggression in it, and you can see that the dance is, I will fuck you up. I'm about to fuck, and I just love that dance so bad, man. Like I gotta get that from one day. I gotta get that. We gotta record that. That's a beautiful, powerful dance. So anyway, humor provides a powerful buffer against stress and fear. You know, we use that very well here on this show and in class, courtesy of Baba. Yeah, when people are trapped in a stressful situation and feeling overwhelmed, they're stuck in one way of thinking. This is terrible. I've got to get out of here. But if you can take a humorous perspective, then by definition, you're looking at it differently. You're breaking out of that rigid mindset.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say Baba's teaching on humor has really helped me and affected the way that I deal with stressful situations a lot of time. And I would say helped me avoid.
About to say the way you deal with me.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were about to say it helps you.
Yeah. But anyway, Jadarian said we should put the dance on the Patreon.
We got something for you, Jared. I just appreciate you. That's all I'm gonna say. I just appreciate you, brother. We're gonna have you on Patreon. How about that?
Oh my goodness. Oh, we were talking about the humor thing. Excuse me, Billy. Thank you.
Sorry.
But even helped me to avoid not even not put myself in those situations at all because of the way that I'm viewing things and kind of keeping things light and not letting them go, to a certain place. When we've done women's self-defense classes with Baba, that's something that we've talked about a lot, is being able to, when someone is being aggressive with you, being able to counteract that aggression with humor, or just being able to still say the things that you need to say, but in a humorous way, so that you can go on after that.
And
So
diffuse and take the energy out of the situation
right,
sometimes.
exactly. Yeah, so I mean, that's been very valuable. If no one knows what we mean, I would definitely suggest you at least consider coming to class, or I do think we have some recordings of some of the women's self-defense stuff, so maybe there's something in there.
Of course we do, and we will Patreon that dance, brother. It's on you.
That's right, it's me, excuse me. We have dealt with taking life, but what happens when you lose someone, when someone dies? You go through stages of grief. Stage 1, denial, pretending the loss or change isn't happening. Denying it gives you time to more gradually absorb the news and begin to process it. As you move out of the denial stage, the emotions you've been hiding will begin to rise. You'll be confronted with a lot of sorrow you've denied. Stage 2 is anger. Where denial may be considered a coping mechanism, anger is a masking effect. Anger is used to hide many of the emotions and pain that you carry. It may be redirected at other people, such as the person who died, your ex, or your old boss. While your rational brain knows the object of your anger isn't to blame, your feelings in that moment are too intense to be rational. Anger may mask itself in feelings like bitterness or resentment. It may not be clear-cut fury or rage. Not everyone will experience this stage, and some may linger here. As the anger subsides, however, you may begin to think more rationally about what's happening and feel the emotions you've been pushing aside.
Stage 3 is bargaining. In the bargaining stage of grief, you may find yourself creating a lot of what ifs and if only statements. It's also not uncommon for religious individuals to try to make a deal or promise to God or a higher power in return for healing or relief from the grief and pain.
I'm telling you.
Bargaining is a line of defense against the emotions of grief. It helps you postpone the sadness, confusion, or hurt. Stage 4 is depression. Like the other stages of grief, depression can be difficult and messy. It can feel overwhelming. You may feel foggy, heavy, and confused. Depression may feel like the inevitable result of any loss. However, if you can't seem to move past this stage of grief, talk with a mental health expert. A therapist can help you work through this period of coping. And I've been depressed, clinically depressed. It wasn't from nobody dying, but I've had moderate to severe depression. And what stopped the depression was I had to, and this was my therapy, I had to take my wife out and enjoy the outside and just move and get out there again. That was the therapy for the depression, and it worked.
Wow. Brittany Bowman says she never understood being mad at a person who died until recent years. Sometimes it can be the way the person passed that can trigger that type of emotion. It could be suicide, or it could be something happened very fast that it was unexpected, or the person let themselves When my brother died, just real brief, he was one of the first people who had AIDS. He had AIDS in the 80s. And I say it in the 80s because back then they wasn't really treating it. You just got AIDS and got really sick and looked bad and just was real effed up. So he was one of those people that met an African holistic health doctor, Dr. Jason, who was later murdered. I talked about that before, found murdered in his hotel room. But he was one of those first people who met a holistic health doctor and reversed all of his dis-ease, where he was healthy and he lived for, till he was about 40 some years old. So that was 20 more years after having full-blown AIDS, not HIV, but actually having AIDS. So he decided at one time, he's like, you know what? I done everything in life. I want to see what's on the other side. And just let himself go, and died within 6 weeks of being totally healthy. Just stopped taking any herbs, he wasn't drinking, he started drinking or whatever. And he said it, he left it on a piece of paper. It's like what I just told you. Just happened to be in a notebook. He left his stuff where after the funeral, family members could just pick anything they wanted, his clothes, his car, whatever you wanted, you had to just figure it out. And all I took was a notebook. He had a journal, and that was actually written in his journal, the last thing he ever wrote. And that I was kind of mad about that. Like, what the fuck? That's very selfish, Nick. But you have to get over that. Life is selfish. You got to look out for yourself, and that's how life ends up being. So a lot of times it's just I think it just depends on how that person passes everything.
Now, Elusive View says escapism also through drugs, alcohol. Escapism is a mechanism that's used in all of the stages of grief. So it's a mechanism that some people use, drugs, alcohol, to escape the pain.
And also, real quick, for my depression, I had to say what it was I was dealing with because I wouldn't say it. And so the way I handled that is I have two brothers still, one passed, but I still have two brothers. And I was dealing with a lot of financial issues that was weighing down on me because I just didn't know how I was going to, figure it out. And I wasn't telling anybody. So I called the one brother that I know don't have any money because I felt I could speak to him and call it my ego. He would know that I'm not asking him for nothing. Like, it was big for me to be able to talk to somebody and them not thinking I want something from them, because my issue was financial. So I didn't want a person I'm talking to be like, oh man, I got to try to help this. I got to try to figure out how to help. So I called him, never called him ever to talk about any issues. And I just started crying about like, I'm not gonna lie. I broke down and started crying. Like, man, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I never felt tired as a man, as a human, of trying. And I was just tired. And I had to say that and get that out. And once I was able to do that, I was able to breathe and, realize that, everything so far has worked out. I'm still here. Chances are things are going to work out and I'm still going to be here. So, stage 5, which is the last stage, is acceptance. Acceptance is not necessarily a happy or uplifting stage of grief. It doesn't mean you've moved past the grief or loss. It does, however, mean you've accepted it. You've accepted it and have come to understand what it means in your life now. Look to acceptance as a way to see that there's many more good days than bad, just like I just said. But there may still be bad, and that's okay. Sometimes I don't even know what triggers me to think about a person that, whether it be my father, my grandmother, my brother, my friend, but I can think about my brother right now. It's nothing. It's not nothing. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't make me emotional. Then I can have a thought randomly, and it brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah,
You just have to know that it's going to be like that.
right.
That's the point of it all.
I'm really grateful for this dialogue in this episode. The part about commemoration, especially. This is actually in 2 weeks. It'll be the 1st-year anniversary of the passing of my dad, and I was trying to plan a commemoration for him. It was exactly as it was stated here, not a celebration, but a commemoration. But um, we're not having a formal one, but I definitely plan to commemorate him. And it's just he's definitely someone who should be remembered. Not that everyone shouldn't, but he really played an integral role in a lot of people's lives and was just a wonderful man.
I just want to say also that's why I personally believe that ancestral shrines are so very good for your spiritual and mental condition and healing. I'm not even speaking on the power of it because I could speak on that. I got a sermon on that, but I just on being able to have a focal point. I think it's very good.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Brittany Bowman says, "Yeah, my anger was triggered by a suicide of a very close friend right before COVID started up. He had so much to live for. It was nearly 6 years ago. I'm not sure I'll ever fully get over it. Yeah, suicide is very difficult. It's I felt like my brother committed suicide, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand what you're saying. Definitely.
Yeah, well,
One day, hopefully, you will get over it. You just can't see it now.
Yeah.
When my father died, I don't know. I don't know if I went through the 5 stages of grief. I know I was like anger and all of that. I didn't go through. I know I went through the acceptance part.
Yeah.
I think maybe the denial. I don't know. All I know is so when he died, I wrote 3 books. I worked it off. I worked off my grief. So I guess that's a form of denial.
I would say.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But I didn't go through an anger stage or maybe.
No, I didn't.
But and then I went through acceptance. Now, he died in 2013, October 16th, and I know that not just because he died that day. He died on the day his mother was born.
And that's the day my grandmother died.
My grandmother. Wow.
That's 2 days before my birthday.
Wow. So, that day is etched in my memory.
Yeah, well,
Speaking at my father's funeral, I think was the acceptance is when acceptance really happened for me. Having to speak afterwards, it really hit.
So I wasn't able to make the funeral. I was still recovering from my stroke. So, but I sent a recording, and what I asked everybody to do was to take a piece of candy, a piece of mint. My mother, handed out the mint to everybody. Swallow or eat the mint, suck it, and as it dissolves in your mouth, that was like my father's life. It left he was gone, but it left a sweetness on your tongue.
Oh, that's good. That's something.
yeah, well,
And so,
Only
that
you're able to treat.
that allowed me to heal because I was able to send that.
Emmanuel Briggs says my sister passed a week or two after my birthday. Yeah, that things like that that's close to you, that has right around certain times. Those can be hard because like somebody passing at Christmas and things of that nature. One of my friends, his girlfriend died right around Thanksgiving, and that's always going to be a time where he has to deal with that. It's going to come back. Y'all got me crying in the car in the parking lot here at Camp Creek Marketplace. It's okay. Look, I've done the same. I've been out in front of the store in tears, and I'm like, I gotta stop crying. I can't even go in the store.
Right.
So my sister passed. Yeah. When my partner passed, I was angry at him for leaving.
Yeah.
Grandma kept peppermints. I'm gonna tell you, I got a trick for everybody when I pass. See, the way I'm gonna do it is I have given out, and people don't know it yet. Sometimes it won't happen until I pass. Some people already got it. But I give people songs that they're going to have to play at my funeral. You got to get up. You have to walk. You got to be in the front. You might not have to say nothing, but that song got to play while you stand right there. And for some people, the song is just not going to match who they are. And it's going to be funny. That certain people got to have a certain song play. And that's the way I'm going to combat. My brother did that. It was beautiful because at his funeral, my brother was so big to me. Again, I told this story for real quick. My brother was 5'8", and I swore to my mother when I went and saw him in the casket, I said, well, he shriveled up. What happened? Like, he looked small. And my mama looked at me and said, your brother was 5'8". What you talking about? I said, Andre was taller than me. And she looked at my oldest brother. She didn't say nothing. She just looked at my oldest brother when I said that. My oldest brother looked at me in a way that I knew I was tripping. And I said, wait. Seriously, how tall was Andre? And they all looked at me the same way, like, you okay? I saw him bigger than what he was. So I just say all that. I was gone. I didn't know. I didn't even know where I was at the funeral, it seemed like. Until this man he came up there and he was very sad and he had a boombox. And he got the mic. He said, Andre made me promise that I would do this. And he was grieving. He did not want to do it. That's what we didn't know what was happening. He pressed play. A house song came on. He started dancing. And we all laughed. But he was not happy.
Right.
He didn't smile. He looked like Tyrone Diggums from Dave. That's why I'm moving like that purposely. He looked like a crackhead. That must have been a funny dance that my brother's like, yo, you got to do that when I pass. And he pressed stop after 15 seconds and said, I love you, Andre, and walked off crying. And the whole funeral home was laughing. And me and my brother left. When we left out, he gave me a song. He said, you got to play. I want you to play this at my funeral. I gave him a song. And since then, that's been it. And it changed the whole mindset of what our funerals would be like. So I just wanted to give y'all that. I think that's a jewel.
I want everybody to do the Tyrone Biggins.
I'm not doing that, Bob.
Just let Amaliki do it, and that'll be enough, Bobby. If Amaliki has to do it by herself.
Everybody in front of the casket.
Make me do it because I said I'm not going to do it. I just wanted to say, be like what you were talking about as far as your brother and him kind of letting himself go and how you felt like that was a form of suicide. Like in our community, we have to have that conversation because I've worked with several people who sort of, it's like when we talk about how, you have these health conditions, things are happening with you and you're ignoring them. Then you're going to the doctor after a while and maybe they're cutting things off of your body. Maybe they're giving you tons of medication to take. Maybe you're in and out of the hospital, but you never want to stop doing what it is that you're doing. Like we have met and know so many people in our community that, that's a form of suicide. Just deciding, someone telling you, you have got to stop eating this. You cannot do this anymore. And for people to just continue as though they can't live without doing this particular thing.
So,
Like eating, cinnamon rolls is more important than their life.
well,
Alcoholism
what's insane to me in that is a person will die from diabetes, and their family will commemorate their death with a meal of the same shit.
Right.
Took them out of here.
That's a treat.
You are sick and don't know it.
Right.
So another thing that I ask, and I hope I ain't going nowhere soon, but
you ain't going nowhere soon,
is that do not eat, garbage, no processed foods, cheeses, and all that shit at my weight.
I'm gonna haunt you if you eat some Kentucky Fried Chicken. You have some fried chicken wings. You have some chicken wings in my motherfucking commemoration. I'm coming for your ass. I'm coming for you. You ain't gonna die. I'm just gonna haunt the shit out your ass. Wow. I'm sorry. We can bat it with humor, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
Speaking of which, before we get out of here, have y'all seen the new Kentucky Fried? Kentucky Fried. They don't call it chicken. Have you seen the commercial?
Mm-mm.
Listen. I've never seen something so scary in my life.
Oh wow!
As a commercial. They're in the woods. It's dark. They're in the woods. It's humans. They're all going slow into the swamp, through the woods. They're walking through the woods. They get to the swamp. I'm not bullshit, y'all. This is a real commercial. A man has a man on his hip. The man is like straight. Tell me if y'all seen this. He takes the man and he dips him in the water. And he picks the man up, and the man is a chicken nugget. He comes out as I swear to God. Weirdest shit I've ever seen. They take a human and
greatest people.
Right.
Dip him in the motherfucking river, and he comes out a giant chicken wing, a giant drumstick or nugget or something. And he about to eat that. Yo, that was crazy. That's crazy. I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry.
I Manifesto said they got some mashed potato poppers. What does that have to do with it?
But he also wrote that he choked off of his grandma's big mint.
Oh,
the
right.
blue mint. Big blue mint.
Yeah, big blue mint. He was on the table and choking. It took a while before anybody noticed him down there.
Them big fat Christmas mints were the nastiest, biggest, most tasty. They had the longest taste, man. Them blue ones with the white, all them things. Woo. I miss.
I'm grateful that my grandma were into those.
Ooh, yeah.
My granny had mints and them orange slices with the sugar on the outside.
Oh yeah.
My mama had mints. Yeah, I'd have told them orange slices.
Well, she's downstairs. I mean, she still got them.
The orange, like, what was those orange things that was like a peanut? They were supposed to have like the design of a peanut, but they was orange
and they were spongy like.
Yes.
I don't know what the hell that is.
What was that? Only grandmothers had that.
I don't know what that is.
They was kind of delicious and kind of not at the same time. It was like it was nasty on one day, and one day it'd be all right.
It was our circus peanuts. Thank you, Brittany Bowman.
Thank you. Circus peanuts. Wow. I showed my age on that one.
What you probably got gross too? What's some thing called candy corn?
Oh yeah, they were nasty. It's like we were so addicted to the sweets and sugar, the nastiest stuff your grandma had. You still gonna eat it if it wasn't else. If wasn't no other candy there, you gonna eat that nasty. I hated candy corn and them what is circus peanuts, but wasn't nothing else over there. I ate them circus peanuts. I sure did. Anywhere else somebody offered me, get that shit away from me.
I don't even know where the hell people got the circus peanuts from. I don't even
Why is it even called a circus peanut?
I just remember I don't remember a package or nothing.
No, they was always in a package. It was always just by themselves, like just open.
Y'all are hilarious.
That's crazy. I'm sorry. All right. We appreciate y'all. Our first show, I think it was a great show
On
back.
the new Black Power Media
We look forward to it.
Warrior Class 2.0.
We look
Right.
forward to it. We look forward to it. Sign up to our Patreon if you have it. We will be on there very shortly. We've already put 2 videos up there. The reason we put the Sabu video up there because we want to actually give you this thing in the order of African martial arts that we really do it. The first thing you need to learn in self-protection is how to fall, because that's something you're going to do with or without African martial arts, without any training. You're going to fall.
Absolutely.
And you need to know how to fall and how to get up. So that's the first thing we show on Patreon.
As you get older, it's more important to learn it.
It gets more and more important. Listen. It's another thing about taking care of yourself. I got lightheaded in the shower for the first time. You know, I was yawning before I about to get out, and I got lightheaded, and I kind of slipped a little bit. Yo, take care of yourself. It don't take but one slip in the wrong place for you to not be the same way ever again.
Right.
And so I just want to say, because that's serious, and I've seen and I know people who have failed, and they were never the same again.
Yeah, bro.
Learning how to fall is so much more important than we talk about, than we know. It is very important. So don't think, oh, that's all they put up on here. This basic. And no. And it's going to take you a minute to get it right.
Right, and longer for it to be muscle memory for you.
I've taken 3 falls down the stairs that would have killed me if I didn't know how to fall.
Talk about it. I have failed at least twice since I've learned Sabu. One time on a skateboard that would have had my back looking like I was a former slave because I didn't have a shirt on if I didn't fall properly. I'm telling y'all, it's a life changer. We know people in accidents that learned how to fall, that fell properly, that saved their life. It's very important. So that's why that's up there. And we will be going in order. But we will be on there discussing fights and breaking down attack scenarios and things of that nature very shortly. So sign up. We will be with you guys.
We'll be doing
I did tell about the shower thing.
Right. I also fell on the longboard, which is a longer, wider skateboard, and ended up doing a side fall that I didn't even realize I did at the time. But I was completely unhurt and I got up laughing, so it is really important to know how to fall, most definitely.
Yeah. Stay limber, yes, because I will be putting some mobility exercises up there, because that's also important. We a lot of us don't know a lot of mobility exercises that promote.
Archive shows still be available.
We can't tell you that.
Some of them.
Yeah, some because we don't know what they're doing over there on the other side, on the other channel.
And that's
we don't know, and we don't have control of that. We're gonna try, but they can.
Will be available through them, probably not, but through us, we're trying to get them so we can, put them on Patreon.
Hey, yeah. Answer that for us. Are the archive are our archive shows available right now? Because I don't even know. I haven't. I'm not able to see that.
Does anyone know?
If they aren't available, let us know.
If they have the playlist still up, the Warrior Class playlist, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't see that. So let us know, and we're going to do our best to get as many videos as we can, and we post them here. And if we can't, hey, we can. We will. We'll get it done. Where can I get the t-shirt?
Where can I get the t-shirt?
Yeah. You can.
T-shirt.
I'm going to have to check inventory, which is my garage. Let me know your size. We do have a few t-shirts left. We have not put in an order for any more, and the reason being is because we want to have our actual.
Somebody said they want the BPM t-shirt.
Yeah, she's talking about the Black Power Media.
You can talk to Kalanji about that.
About it,
yeah. But if you want a Warrior Class shirt,
that's where we got ours from.
We'll get with you on that. Yeah, we definitely. Yeah, Kalanji has the BPM, so let us know.
All right, you all. Be safe out there. Be safe in your home. Stay black, or whatever it is that you may be. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Kill responsibly.
Yes.
Is that the thing?